Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are all fine and with a good health. I warmly welcome to all of you in part 4 of this video lecture series of 8088 microprocessor and ISA bus system. And I am Ali Iqbal from GC University Faisalabad. Now start with the hadith. Sammillahu wa kul bi yaminik. अल्लाह का नाम लो और दाएं हाथ से खाओ. The flow of the lecture. 8088 microprocessor, which we have already covered in the previous video lectures with the subtopics microprocessor buses, in which we have studied the data bus, address bus, control bus pins of the 8088 and the bus timing in microprocessor and the remaining pins of 8088 microprocessor with its functionalities. And in this lecture we will talk about the 8284 clock generator IC, which is responsible for the generation of the clock signal.
Now we will start the 8284 clock generator IC. Firstly, we will study what is the clock generator. Clock generator is an integrated circuit which combines or connected with the microprocessor to generate the clocking signal, which is the necessary requirement for the microprocessor to control all the timing requirements and the synchronization of the microprocessor with the external attached peripherals. And it can also generate from the crystal oscillator or external frequency source. Now come to the 8284 features. Firstly, the 8284 is used in both the minimum and the maximum mode of the microprocessor. So previously, as we know, that the microprocessor can work in two modes. The first one is the minimum mode, in which the microprocessor works individually, while in the maximum mode the microprocessor combines with the extra math coprocessor in case of complex mathematical operations involved in the programming. So 8284 works with both the modes of the microprocessor. Either it can work in the minimum mode or in the maximum mode. Secondly, it provides the clock and timing for the 8086 or 8088 base systems. So the main two features or two working principles of the clock generator, or the two main concepts behind the clock generator, is to provide the clocking and the timing requirements for the 8086 or 8088 based systems. Now the figure shows the 8284A, which is the commercial variant of 8284 clock generator IC, and it has the following features. We will discuss one by one. The first feature is that it comes in the 18-pin dual inline package. So dual inline package means that the 18 pins are equally distributed on the left and right side of the IC. As you can see in the block diagram of the 8284A, with the properly labeled the pins with the functions of the pin and the numbering, and the pins are arranged from top left to the top bottom and continues from right bottom to the right top of the IC. Secondly, the IC can be biased with the plus 5 volt VCC and a ground signal. So the pin number 18 and the pin number 9 use for the VCC, which is plus 5 volt, and the ground signal respectively. So it can use the crystal oscillator or the external frequency signal as the clocking source. So 8284 provides the facility to generate the clocking signal with the help of a crystal oscillator or the external frequency source. So we have both the options in 8284. The next feature, it can generate the reset signal for the microprocessor. So what is the importance of the reset signal? Whenever the power supply of the PC is turned on, then a active low signal by the power supply is fed to the pin number 11 of the IC, which is the reset active low, and this pin becomes active low, and the 8284A will generate the active high reset signal from the pin number 10, and it will fed to the microprocessor to reset its whole circuitry so that it can work properly at the initiation of the program. The next, it provides not only the clock and the synchronization, as we have discussed previously, that the clock generator will provide the clocking signal and the timing requirements, as well as the synchronization responsibilities of the microprocessor with the external peripherals, but it also generates a ready signal for the insertion of the wait states into the CPU bus cycle. So what is the importance of the wait state? Whenever the microprocessor is connected to the external peripherals, then sometimes the peripherals takes much longer time than expected. Then in this case the microprocessor has to wait, and this wait can be initiated with the help of the ready signal coming from the 8284A, which is the pin number 5, and this ready signal is fed to the microprocessor and it will come into the wait state. So to apply the proper synchronization requirements, and it is capable of synchronization with the other 8284 chips. The last feature, that it is capable of synchronization with the other 8284 chips. Now in case where the multiprocessing or multiple processors are involved, then the 8284 ICs connected to every processor separately, and these IC can be synchronized with one another to synchronize the whole process. So this can be done with the pin number 1, which is the clock synchronization, and we will study them in a couple of minutes. Now in this slide we will study the 8284 clock generator pins, which are 18 in numbers and can be divided into three groups. The first one biasing pins, and in the second group there are output pins, and in third category we will take the input pins. So biasing pins are pin number 9 and the pin number 18 for the ground signal and for the VCC respectively. While in the second group the output pins are pin number 2, pin number 5, 8, 10 and 12. So 5 output pins are there, while the 2 biasing pins become 7, and the remaining 11 input pins, we will study them one by one. So firstly we will study the input pins, then we will study the output pins, and the biasing pins we have already studied.
Now, before moving further, we have make one assumption in our studying, that while studying the 8284 clock generator pins, we will use the IBM PC as the standard PC, and we will set the default values of the pins with respect to the standard IBM PC. Now the 8284 pins, the input pins are given below. The first input pin is the reset in pin, which is the pin number 11, and the bar on it represents that it is active low input pin. In IBM PC, this pin is connected to the power supply, and whenever we turned on the power supply, then the power supply will generate an active low signal, and this signal is fed to this pin, and in response the 8284A will generate an active high signal through the pin number 10, and this pin number 10 is connected to the microprocessor, and this pin, the 8284 through this pin will reset the microprocessor. So this process is known as the cold boot. This is an input active low signal to generate the reset. In the IBM PC, it is connected to the power good signal from the power supply. When the power switch in the IBM PC is turned on, assuming that the power supply is good, a low signal is provided to this pin, and 8284 in turn will activate the reset pin, which is the pin number 10, and this forcing the 8088 to reset. Then the microprocessor takes over. This is known as the cold boot process. Now the next two pins are X1 and X2, which are known as the crystal input pins. So these are the pin number 16 and pin number 17, X1 and X2 active high input pins. So these pins are used to connect the crystal oscillator with the clock generator IC, and we will use the crystal oscillator of the frequency 3 times of the required frequency. X1 and X2 are the pins to which a crystal is attached. The crystal frequency must be 3 times the desired frequency of the microprocessor. The maximum crystal for the 8284A is 24 megahertz, while in the case of IBM PC, this pin is connected to the crystal oscillator of frequency 14.31818 megahertz. Now the next input pin is the pin number 13, which is the F/C bar pin, known as the frequency or clock selection pin. So in our previous discussion, we have discussed that the clock generator will provide us the facility to either get the oscillations from the external frequency source or crystal oscillator. So we have both the options, and this pin is actually will select these two. So if we will set the F/C bar pin as 0 pin, or we will give an active low signal to this pin, then it will select the crystal oscillator, or if we will give the active high signal to this input pin, then it will use the external frequency source as the clocking source. So this pin provides an option for the way the clock is generated. If connected to the low, the clock is generated by the 8284 with the help of a crystal oscillator, and if it is connected to the high input, it expects to receive the clocks at the EFI or external frequency input pin. Since IBM PC uses a crystal, this pin is connected to low signal. Now the next pin is the EFI, which is external frequency in, and it is the pin number 14. As we have discussed that the 8284 gives us the facility to use both the crystal oscillator or the external frequency source, and the crystal oscillator is connected through the X1 and X2 pin number 16 and 17, while the external frequency source will connect through this pin EFI, which is the pin number 14. So external frequency is connected to this pin, and if F/C bar pin number 13 will be connected to high signal, because when we apply the active high signal here, then the EFI will be enabled. If we will active low this pin, then the X1 and X2, I mean crystal oscillator, will be enabled. So in the IBM PC, this is not connected since a crystal is used instead of an external frequency generator. So in IBM PC, we always prefer and use the crystal oscillator, so we will disable this pin. The next pin is clock synchronization CSYNC, which is the pin number 1. This active high signal is used to allow several 8284 chips to be connected together and synchronized. In the IBM PC uses only one 8284, therefore this pin is connected to low. So the pin number 1, which is the clock synchronization pin, is that pin which is responsible for communicating and synchronizing with other 8284 chips if applicable. In case of multiprocessing projects, then we will use this pin to synchronize other 8284 chips, and in the case of IBM PC, we only use the minimum mode or single processing. So this chip will be connected to low signal and will be disabled. The next two pins are the Y1 and AEN1 bar, which is ready 1 and address enable 1. So this is a pair of two pins, the pin number 3 and pin number 4. So these two pins are used for the DMA controller, which is the main direct memory access controller. Ready 1 is an active high and address enable is active low. They are used together to provide a ready signal to the microprocessor, which will insert a wait state to the CPU read or write cycle. In the PC, IBM PC, ready 1 is connected to DMA wait and address enable is connected to ready/wait pin. So we will discuss when we will study the DMA controller, we will understand in much better way. So this allows a wait state to inserted by either the CPU or the DMA controller. Now the remaining input pins are RDY2 and AEN2, which is the pin number 6 and pin number 7. So these two pins, these functions exactly like RDY1 and AEN1, but are designed to allow for a multi-processing system. As you know that we in this IBM PC we use only a single processing, so these two pins, pin number 6 and 7, will be disabled. And how can we disable? We will connect the pin number 6 with active low and pin number 7 will with active high, will disable these two pins. So these functions exactly like RDY1 and AEN1, but are designed to allow for a multi-processing system. In the IBM PC, ready 2 is connected to low and AEN is connected to high, which permanently disable this function since there is only one 8088 microprocessor in the system. And the last pin of the 8284 is ASYNC, which is the asynchronous, the pin number 15. So this is called a ready synchronization select pin, and active low is used for the devices that are not able to adhere to very strict RDY setup time requirements. In the IBM PC, this is connected to low, making the timing design for the system easier with the slower logic gates. So this is the ready synchronization select pin. Now in this slide we are going to study the third group of 8284 clock generator pins, which are the output pins. So the output pins are labeled and will be discussed one by one. The first output pin is the reset pin, which is the pin number 10 of the 8284 generator IC, clock generator IC. So this is an active high signal that provides a reset signal to the 8088. It is activated by the reset input signal discussed earlier. So this pin actually is connected to the microprocessor to reset the microprocessor, and this pin is controlled by this reset input pin, which is connected to the external power supply. And whenever the power supply is turned on, an active low signal is fed to this pin, and this pin in response will generate an active high signal to the microprocessor through this pin to reset the microprocessor. The next output pin is oscillator pin, which is the pin number 12, and this provides a clock frequency equal to the crystal oscillator and is TTL compatible. Since IBM crystal oscillator is 14.31818 MHz, oscillator will provide this frequency to the expansion slot of the IBM PC. As we have discussed earlier, that X1 and X2 are connected to the crystal oscillator of the frequency 14.31818 MHz in case of the IBM PC. So in IBM PC, the pin number 12 oscillator pin will give out the frequency, give out the same frequency signal as the crystal oscillator frequency. Now the next pin is CLK, which is the pin number 8, the clock pin. So this is an output clock frequency equal to 1/3 of the crystal oscillator or the EFI input frequency with a duty cycle of 33%. So one thing which we should know about this pin, that the frequency from this pin is 1/3 of the crystal oscillator or the external frequency source. So it has the 33% of the duty cycle. So this is connected to the clock input of the 8088 and all other devices that must be synchronized with the CPU. In the IBM PC, it is connected to pin number 19 of the processor and other circuitry under CLK88 label. This frequency 4.77276 MHz, which is the 1/3 of this frequency, 14.31818, is the processor frequency on which all of the timing calculations of the memory and IO cycles are based. Now in this slide, we are going to study the last two output pins. The second last is the PCLK, which is the peripheral clock pin, the pin number 2 of the IC. Peripheral clock is 1/2 of the clock frequency or 1/6 of the provided crystal frequency with a duty cycle of 50%, and it is TTL compatible. In the IBM PC, this will provide the signal of 2.386383 MHz frequency and is provided to the 8253 timer to be used to generate the speaker tones and for the other functions. So this is actually the clock signal for the peripherals, and this is the clock for the microprocessor, and it is 1/3 of the provided frequency and it is 1/6 of the provided frequency. The last output pin is the ready pin, which is the pin number 5. So this is the pin. This signal is connected to ready of the CPU. As we know that ready has also the CPU has also a one pin named ready. So this ready pin is actually connected to the ready pin of the microprocessor, and in the IBM PC it is used to signal the 8088 that the CPU needs to insert a wait state due to the slowness of the devices that the CPU is trying to connect. This is the last slide of today's lecture series, in which we can see the interfacing of the 8284A clock generator IC with the microprocessor, and we can easily see the reset pin of the 8284A is connected to the reset of the microprocessor pin, and the pin number 11, and this reset pin is controlled, and this reset pin is actually controlled with this reset input pin, which is connected to the power supply, and whenever this switch is turned on, then an active low signal is provided to this pin to reset the microprocessor through the pin number 10. And the pin number 8, which is connected to the clock of the microprocessor, and the clock is generated with the help of the crystal oscillator of 15 megahertz, which are connected to the X1 and X2, the pin 16 and 17 of the clock generator IC. And the F slash C bar, which is frequency or clock select pin, is actually grounded. Denote that we are using the crystal oscillator, not the external frequency source. And in the same way, the clock synchronization is also grounded, because the 8284A uses only the single processing, not the multi-processing in the IBM PC case. And this is all about today's lecture.